By the spring of 1864, the American Civil War had reached a critical deadline. President Abraham Lincoln needed a decisive military victory to secure his re-election, and he elevated Ulysses S. Grant to General-in-Chief to deliver it. This diagram scales the mathematical mismatch facing the Confederacy. Grant brought a force of 120,000 men and over 300 artillery pieces, while Lee was left with a starving force of roughly 64,000. The geography created a massive risk for Lee. If Grant pushed this army through the wooded regions south of the Rapidan River and reached open ground, his superior numbers and cannons would make a Confederate defeat a mathematical certainty. Lee chose a high-risk gamble to stop the advance. He struck Grant while the Union Army was still entangled in 70 square miles of dense, hostile second-growth forest known as the Wilderness. To survive these 3-to-1 odds, Lee had to change the physical rules of the battlefield itself. A century of iron mining and clear-cutting had replaced the mature forest with a dense, choking wall of scrub oak, pine, and vines. This terrain neutralized Grant's greatest technological asset. His 300 artillery pieces were useless because long-range bombardment is physically impossible through a solid wall of vegetation. Visibility dropped to less than 50 feet. Combat became a series of blind firefights, where soldiers aimed at the sounds and muzzle flashes of an invisible enemy. He sent his 2 corps down the only narrow paths available, the Orange Turnpike and Plank Road, to pin Grant inside the timber. The dense woods prevented Grant's flanks from deploying, forcing his massive army to fight on a front no wider than Lee's. By forcing the engagement here, Lee successfully turned the environment against the Union, nullifying Grant's numerical and technological edge. The plan nearly shattered on the second morning. Union forces smashed through A.P. Hill's line, pushing the Confederate Army to the point of collapse. Lee rode to the front to lead a countercharge himself, until his own soldiers grabbed his horse's reins and forced their commander to the rear. James Longstreet arrived just in time to salvage the position, deploying fresh divisions to hold the line. An unfinished railroad cut ran south of the main fighting. Unmapped and hidden, it offered a clear path through the brush. Longstreet's men surged through this cut and slammed into the exposed Union flank, rolling it up until friendly fire took Longstreet out of battle. As the woods caught fire from the musketry, hundreds of wounded men were trapped and burned alive in the undergrowth. Survival in the wilderness came at a horrific price, bought through desperate gambles and the indiscriminate violence of the forest itself. Against 3-to-1 odds, Lee had neutralized a force twice his size, though it cost both sides nearly 30,000 men.
In every previous campaign, a loss this heavy meant the Union Army would retreat back across the river to recover. This strategic map shows Grant's departure from that pattern. Instead of turning north toward safety, he ordered the army to march south, deeper toward Richmond. The move exposed Lee's long-term problem. He had lost 18% of his force, men the starving Confederacy could not replace. Weaponizing the wilderness saved Lee's army for the day, but Grant's refusal to retreat locked the Confederacy into a war of attrition it could not win.